I always find the hardest thing about composing is knowing where to start. And so when you start with a piece of paper the size of a wall, where do you put the first dot? So narrow down all your possibilities. What instruments are you writing for? How hard does it have to be? Do you know your individual players? Writing for your friends is the first thing. You guys have an amazing tool, amazing advantage. You can write on the computer, you get instant feedback from what you've written, but when I'm tutoring, what is really obvious is often that the composers have never had their pieces played by live players. Sounds good on the computer is the really awful thing to say to any performer. My computer could play it, why can't you? So give it to live players, try it out, get them to tell you what they think works, what they think doesn't work. And part of that is knowing your instruments. If you're not a violin player, talk to your violin player. Find out why you can't play high and low notes very quickly in succession like you can on the piano. This is easy on the piano, but you try that on the violin and they'll break their arm trying to do it. So the difference between difficult and awkward is very important to sort out. The other thing about computers is they take a little bit of learning in order to use them well. So when you're composing, write it down on paper. The hardest thing is working out how to write it down. Don't try and combine that with working out how to use your computer. I use Sibelius. I've been using it since 1994, so I'm kind of fast at it now. But when you're starting out, separate the process of learning how to use your computer from the process of learning how to write it down, and then put it on the computer and then get it to play. When you're composing, every time you come back to the music, look at it again. What can you change? What do you like? What don't you like? Look at that bit that you do like and think, how could I make it better? One of my composition teachers, John Rimmer, said the best tool for composing is your eraser. Don't be scared to rub things out, to throw things away. One piece I wrote had the middle movement written 3 times, completely written 3 times, and the third one wouldn't exist if the first 2 hadn't existed and then been thrown away. I heard a story about Douglas Lilburn, who went to London to study with Vaughan Williams, and Vaughan Williams said to him, show me the bits in your composition that you wrote really easily. And he said, right, now throw them away. Anyone could have written those. Show me the bits you had to work at, because those are the bits that are valuable. When you're composing, the first thing you often do is start imitating other composers that you like. I know for me, I started by imitating Beethoven, Bartók, Britten, and that's a good way to start, but we want to hear your voice. We want to hear what only you could have written. So, really important, try it out with your friends. The music doesn't exist just on the computer. You've got to get other people to play it. And then to get other people to play it, learn your computer. Learn how to make it look nice. Don't put page turns in the middle of a semiquaver run. Obvious things like that. The page turn will define the entire layout of each part. What else did I have to say? Another thing, if you haven't got friends who can play your piece, write for a common combination of instruments. One of my students said that he used to have 5-minute races with his friend on Sibelius. What could they write in 5 minutes? He showed me a piece he'd written for contrabass, saxophone, hurdy-gurdy, and piccolo, or something like that. Who's ever going to play that? Write for string quartet, write for violin and piano, write for 2 trumpets and trombone, write for a combination that will commonly get played. Write every day was something that another composition teacher, Dorothy Buchanan, always said. Just write every day. And if you have to throw it away, that's fine. You can write something else tomorrow, but write every day. Another thing I find when I'm looking at the scores is that if you are learning to use Sibelius or any other software, there are very easy things you can do to make it look good. I don't know about other software, but if you send me your Sibelius file, I can do a lot of things very easily, very quickly. The first thing is to choose a good stave size. Don't just use 7mm staves. That's what you use for parts, not scores. Take it down to 6 or even 5.5 and get at least 2 systems on a page. More would be better. The more you can see at once, the better it is. The score is a performance part for the conductor or for the pianist, but it's not a performance part with 7mm staves. So choose a good stave size, and then select the whole score. Respace it horizontally, respace it vertically. That will take care of an awful lot of things. If the parts and score look good, performers are much more likely to look at it and perform from it. If it's hard to decipher, then you haven't done your job. The typesetting in the middle is in writing it in such a way that the performer will play it the way the composer wants it. Think about what the performer's looking at and what they will do when they see that, and not just how the composer wants to see it. If the composer has a D flat major chord followed by an E major chord, the performer doesn't want to see an A flat then a G sharp. So look at what their parts do as they go along. In the texture of the piece, if you're writing a melody with accompaniments, make sure you separate the melody and the accompaniments. I've seen pieces where the melody is densely buried in the entire texture. Everything is busy. Everyone doesn't have to be busy. Keep it simple. Often I've gone back to a piece and you listen to it, and if you can't hear something, why is it there? Keep it simple. The easier you can make it for the performers, the better your effect will be.